From the organization's perspective, recruitment is a process of soliciting the most talented and motivated applicants, and such is a bedrock for the human resource management function. Let's take a look at an introduction to recruitment. Only with highly skilled staff do organizations have the opportunity to thrive. One paradox is that procurement strategies and techniques, despite their importance, may seem relatively insignificant compared with the American socio-political environment with which our function takes place. Historically, recruitment has been passive. Until the 1950s, it was not legal for the federal government to advertise open employment positions in newspapers. Furthermore, the loss of prestige of public service from its high water mark in the 1930s and 1940s is a constant concern. Finally, politicians may make public employment harder by both bashing the bureaucracy and starving it of resources needed for high-quality recruitment. Indeed, the future of government is not a problem for some citizens and lawmakers. Rather, it's their goal. For the job seeker, another stark paradox is the seeming abundance of employment opportunities, but the scarcity of desirable positions or fast-track positions. There are several reasons for this. Not only is there a tendency to increase the span of control and eliminate whole layers of middle management, but there's also a propensity to reduce the number of specialists who have management rank and prerequisites. Public service was once largely based on patronage. Even today, patronage positions are among the most influential in government. Paradoxes and challenges also exist from an organizational perspective. They start with the notion that recruitment is the most compelling human resource function, but it's generally acknowledged to be the weakest in most organizations. Another challenge is the focus of recruitment. Should it be on current skills or future potential? Next is the paradox of balancing competing values. The need to recruit in a timely manner, generally the biggest single concern of applicants and hiring supervisors alike, while maintaining lengthy processes in the names of fairness. Another paradox centers on what should be emphasized in the recruitment process. Finally, what responsibility does the organization have to the applicant? Job seekers spend a great deal of energy and time in the process. Sham recruitment processes are infuriating for the rejected candidates and drain the resources of an organization. Such paradoxes illustrate the rich and complex factors that go into seemingly simple processes. An examination of context and proven recruitment principles does lead to numerous best practices. Recruitment may be seen from two perspectives, that of the employer and that of the applicant. What are the factors that affect success for the organization? And just as important, what are the applicants' perspectives on what a quality process is, even if they're not selected? At least 5 major elements influence the effectiveness of recruitment. First, the breadth and quality of the process. Second, the size of the labor pool and the location. Third, pay and benefits. Fourth, job quality. And fifth, organizational image. Having a sound recruitment philosophy means asking the right questions, which are wise from the onset. Is the entire process, procedure, and other recruitment elements well conceived? Are enough and the correct recruitment strategies available? Is it clear and non-bureaucratic? Is the process free from legal challenges, and do applicants feel good about the process? Pay and benefits are often the first factors that potential applicants review and consider. Public pay generally varies from uncompetitive to moderately competitive depending on the agency, location, and position. Benefits, especially pension and health insurance in the public sector, are generally perceived as on par or better than those in the private sector on average, and thus represent a recruiting strength. Job quality may or may not be an element that applicants are immediately aware of, but top candidates invariably become proficient analysts of the organization they're considering. Finally, organizational status plays a significant role. The recruitment process has 3 stages: planning and approval, preparation of the announcement, and selection of the use of specific strategies. Recruitment should be seamlessly connected with the selection process. Together, these processes are known as staffing. The receipt of applications and the closing date of the position signal the end of recruitment and the beginning of the selection process. Generalizations are necessary but difficult because substantial variations in the recruitment process exists. Even in large agencies, practices range from centralized to decentralized. An important long-term trend in public sector recruiting in the 20th century was proceduralism or red tape. Ever since the widespread establishment of civil service systems in the United States, the ideal has been to be as neutral as possible in recruiting to make the process fair and unbiased. Certainly, this was sensible, hoping to combat excessive political cronyism and managerial personalism and overcome a lack of hiring expertise dispersed among various units. The trend today seeks to ease the effects of proceduralism by decentralizing to allow hiring managers more control and the opportunity to try to innovate methods to compete in the new employment environment. There has been a strong drive to decentralize staffing activities in the largest organizations, where extreme centralization historically has been the norm. Government appears to be making a sincere effort to simplify and invigorate intake functions. Many human resource offices are demonstrating a willingness to use increased flexibility and technological innovations. At least two different types of planning occur in well-managed organizations. First, such agencies engage in strategic thinking about future needs, challenges, and opportunities in their incoming workforce. Second, these agencies operationalize strategic plans as concrete positions become available. In other words, agencies should be rigorous in asking preliminarily vital questions about available positions before the actual process takes place. A plan for staffing begins with a labor market survey or specific position parity study that compare agency job clusters. What are the trends in terms of availability, salaries, and educational levels? Local and regional data can be gathered from each state's Bureau of Labor as well as from some larger jurisdictions. Also, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a federal agency, can provide great data. In addition to market analysis, the organization should conduct a needs assessment. An issue facing organizations today is the retirement of large baby boomer generation and the last of the traditionalists, as well as the integration of Generation Xers and new millennials. Other related issues are differences among the generations and varying needs and preferences of members of more recent generations, as well as the need to retain or rehire some mature workers past retirement. Planning can and should take on a number of different forms. When strategic issues are involved, it's time for managers to consult with human resource departments and colleagues in the agency and other organizations, as well as to consult professional trade journals. Only with a clear sense of demographics and competition of the job market can an agency focus on a position. Is it advisable to fill the position at all? Sometimes it's better to leave one position unfilled so that the spare capacity can be used elsewhere in the unit or the organization. Another question is whether the position needs to be restructured or if expectations need to be adjusted. If the position is not entry level, should it be filled from candidates internal to the organization only, or should it be filled from outside applicants? Morale, it is generally argued, is improved inside or internal recruitment, whereas depth and diversity are improved by outside or external recruitment. Generally, inside-only decisions are used by departments that rely on rank classification and by strong union agencies in which priority application provisions for existing employees are tantamount to property rights. The type of recruitment process is another issue, individuals versus pool hiring or institutional recruitment. Common or hard-to-fill positions may be on a continuous list from which candidates are constantly replenished. Individual recruitment is used for most positions above the entry level, jobs in smaller organizations, and less common classifications. A critical decision concerns the breadth of involvement of those in hiring and related units. The final preliminary issue is getting authority for hiring and approval for any job adjustments that may be needed. In summary, recruitment begins before a position becomes available. Because there's no standard legal requirements concerning minimum information in a job or position announcement, such announcements vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, from entry level to professional recruitment, and from source to source. For example, one jurisdiction may routinely include information about its benefits package, whereas others may not. Or a professional level announcement in its national trade journal may contain a promotional paragraph about the agency or its jurisdiction that would rarely appear in an entry level announcement in a local newspaper. Many agencies use advertisements that have relatively little detail. These are aimed at notifying applicants of opportunities that they can then explore more fully by requesting more information. A cost-effective compromise may be to post an ad on a national job search website known as a job board like Monster.com or CareerPaths.com. Style and tone matter more in announcements today than in the past, even in an employer's market. The best applicants are picky about whom they'll interview with. Announcements should always be reviewed carefully for both accuracy and currency, because misstatements become legally binding and errors make the organization look unprofessional. Once an announcement is completed and authorized, the department can focus on an appropriate set of recruitment strategies. Numerous recruitment strategies are available, but seldom are they all used for any given position. Of course, it's not the sheer number of strategies used that determines the quality intake process, but the choice of the appropriate combination. 10 strategies are discussed next, each of which has strengths and weaknesses and therefore various utilization patterns. Job posting originally considered the placing of a job announcement on walls and prominent locations, such as post offices and city halls. Today, posting also includes electronic posting, listing jobs on agency websites and websites exclusively dedicated to job seekers, also known as job boards. Personal contact recruitment occurs when potential applicants are personally encouraged to apply for positions. Newspaper recruitment focuses on local and regional openings. Trade journals are newsletters and magazines that inform members of professions about activities on a regular basis. Mail and email recruitment, known as custom mailing, is a highly personalized approach in which individuals are encouraged by letter to apply. Institutional capacity recruiting focuses on ensuring that job seekers consider an agency in general and visits its job application website rather than specific jobs. Internship recruitment programs are a common strategy in many mid-sized and large jurisdictions. Headhunting or external recruitment occurs when the staffing function is farmed out to a third party that makes the initial contact or even provides the hiring contract. In non-competitive recruitment, also called direct or one-day hiring, a single official completes the process without a formal comparison of candidates. Which strategies work best for which jobs? Consider each of these strategies as you design the correct selection and recruitment procedure for your next position. There are 3 factors to consider. Let's take a look. First, does the agency provide an environment compatible with diversity through its promotion processes and organizational culture? A department that insists on standard working hours, does not provide childcare assistance, and subtly penalizes leaves of absence for family reasons does not create a subtle atmosphere for employee parents. Such issues might be subtle, but attention to them is critical if an optimally productive diverse environment is to be created and maintained. Second, is there a conscious attempt to maintain a well-rounded workforce so that no group, including white males, has a legitimate complaint? Although the public sector has generally done better than business in this regard, many workplaces are still negligent or lax in promoting diversity successfully. Third, there should be awareness that where and how recruitment takes place will have an effect on diversity in the workplace. The basics of job seeking may be widely known but are not necessarily commonly practiced. Following are several recommendations directed to the job seeker. Developing personal contacts, networking, can make an enormous difference in discovering good prospects. Take the time to envision the types of jobs, organizations, and career paths you might be interested in. Next, carefully screen jobs before applying. Be sure to gather all available information about the job. Take the time to write a customized, flawless cover letter. A letter that's simply good won't be noticed. Write a carefully crafted resume. Certainly, you must not make things up, but be sure that the resume has all the relevant experience and that the presentation is professional in content. When selected as a finalist, immediately do research on the organization. Do your best to understand the job, the employer, and what you need to know to be successful in the interview process.